Okay, so this chapter was not as bad as everyone made it out to be. So everyone was saying that this chapter was going to be boring and it's a waste of panels, but I think it's a good chapter and I think it was really needed for, the character development, of the characters, of course. It's called character development, so what else could it be? So I gotta say that this chapter really expounded on the characters, especially Kawaki, and I think something interesting happened in this chapter, and I hope a lot of people noticed that, because we got a call back to the beginning of the Boruto series where we saw Kawaki say that the age of Shinobi is over, and what transpired in this chapter really kind of links to that and his entire philosophy, basically, because we gotta see that Kawaki has a certain type of understanding of the methods Ishiki used versus the methods of Naruto, or let's say Boruto, because Boruto is kind of like Naruto in a sense where he believes in the Shinobi system the way Naruto does. So Kawaki is coming from, even though Kawaki really respects Naruto and sees him as the light in the darkness, he still understands that sometimes the slower way is not the best way. So we have to find a better way. It might be hard, it might be difficult, it might be seen as aggressive or rude or abrasive, but it is a good way to get things done. And I think we kind of saw the contrast between those two ideals or philosophies in this chapter. So we're gonna get into that, but first I just want to talk about what really happened in the first part of the chapter, which is just as important. So this chapter began with Naruto basically explaining the Otsutsuki meds to Boruto and saying that this is a way to basically kind of call the Otsutsuki transformation or suppress it, right? And Boruto is kind of nonchalant about it, because as we later realized in the chapter, Boruto has already, began to accept his fate in a way where it's not necessarily to say that Boruto will definitely die or he'll lose to the ossification of Momoshiki, but it's to say that he has already come to the understanding that it's a possibility and he has already accepted that. So Naruto presenting Boruto with these chakra pills is nothing to him. He has already accepted his fate, and even if he doesn't take them, you understand that there's a possibility that he's going to die, or it's definitely going to happen. So why not take them if he dies anyway, right? So I think that's basically Boruto's philosophy here and what his understanding of the situation is. And we can basically see that Naruto is trying to explain to him that this could lead to your death. But as I said earlier, Boruto has already come to an understanding that this was a possibility anyway, so Boruto quickly took the pills, or maybe just one, to, basically test it out to see how he feels, or, what kind of side effect it has on him. And obviously when you take pills, you don't see the side effects right away in most cases, so we might see that Boruto is fine now, but we might have issues down the line. And I think that's where Naruto is coming from. Yeah, Boruto is fine right now, and he asks him this if he feels okay. But Naruto was kind of, a little upset in a way, or, a little more aggressive as a parent, because, this pill has a possibility of killing your only son, right? So Boruto just suddenly taking this right in front of him, Boruto could have simply collapsed and died right there. So I think most people can understand why Naruto will be angry, and even though Boruto tries to defend his actions, he himself understands this, and this really shows the maturity of Boruto in general, right? So I kind of like it, and I like this interaction between Boruto and Naruto. I think it's really needed. Now we then fast forward to the training arc of sort, the kind of training arc between Boruto and Kawaki and just the rest of Team 7. So it's Team 7 and Kawaki. I don't know if Kawaki is officially a member of Team 7, because originally the squad should be in a team of 3, and that was created back in I think the third Ninja War, or the fourth. No, it wasn't the fourth. It's either the third or the second. The one where I think this was created by Tsunade and Orochimaru and the legendary Sani. They basically created this 3-man team kind of situation. So I don't know if Kawaki is officially a member of Team 7, but he's kind of with them all the time, so I guess that's the case. But what we're gonna realize in this chapter, it's not really Team 7 as a whole, it's kind of Kawaki versus Team 7, because as I said earlier in the video, this kind of philosophy that Kawaki has is different from what they have. Basically what we're seeing here is that Kawaki wants to just go at it, right? He wants to train, he wants to get stronger, he wants to get stronger by combat, right? He wants to explore his ability, explore Boruto's abilities and Mitsuki's ability and Sarada's abilities. So he wants to see them in action. This kind of sitting around and just training chakra control is not something he wants to do. And I kind of understand where he's coming from, because as I said earlier, this is kind of the difference between Ishiki's methods and Naruto's methods, and you can see that it yields different kinds of results, right? And you could say that the result is the same, like you get strong characters, but one is just faster, where Ishiki's method is way faster, and the method that Naruto takes and Boruto and the rest of the village, it's kinda a long-term growth, which yields better results in a way where it's something that cannot be just taken away from them. And we can see this later on in the chapter when Kawaki kinda depends on something that's no longer there, if you understand what I'm saying. So Kawaki kinda brings up the original plan they had, which was to allow Boruto to transfer his karma to Code, thus saving Boruto's life. But I think Kawaki's kind of one-sided, or kind of narrow-minded in this view, or this kind of this plan he has, because it's extremely flawed. This entire plan hinges on them assuming that Boruto can pass on a karma that's on his body to someone else, right? It hinges on that idea, and that might be possible because Jigen, as seen, could also pass his karma on to such and such forth, which was Kawaki and Code and so on, and multiple other kids. So it is possible, but it hinges on the idea that Boruto has the ability to do it, or the knowledge of how to do it, right? And it also hinges on the assumption that he can pass it on to Code, who already has a white karma from another Otsutsuki. Now it could be said that Code doesn't really have the soul of Ishiki within him, so he should be able to transfer the soul of Momoshiki into Code, because the white karma is basically a empty karma, right? It just has the abilities and the powers and gives him the body of the Otsutsuki without the soul of the Otsutsuki. Now there might be an issue with placing the karma on him if later on we realize that if the white karma is on another being, you can't pass a black karma onto them, right? And could also be said that if Ishiki couldn't place his karma, his soul, the black karma, the real karma, onto Code, why do you think that Boruto can do it, right? It's obviously an issue with compatibility. Basically what they explained, that Code wasn't really compatible with the black karma, which is why he received the white karma. So if he wasn't compatible and it didn't work, why do you think that this one will work? Like, the logic behind it just doesn't make any sense to me, right? So I don't know, man. I think this plan is kind of flawed in multiple ways, but what I think they're alluding to is the possibility of Code transferring his karma onto Kawaki. Now that makes more sense. Now we all want to know how Kawaki gets the karma in the future, right? He has a karma seal, and it looks like Jigen's or Ishiki's karma seal. Now who else has Ishiki's karma seal but Kawaki? Code. And who else could put a karma seal on someone who has a karma seal, which is why they have this kind of parallel between Boruto and Code. But I think what they're doing is setting it up in a way where they can do a switcheroo and say, okay, instead of Boruto transferring his karma to Code, Code is going to transfer his karma to Kawaki. And I think this is going to happen in their fight against Code, and just as Code is about to die, he's going to put his karma on Kawaki. So I think what Code is doing here is he's going to release the limiters, of course, and then after he releases the limiters, he's going to find a way to create a actual karma, because he has a white karma, right? He's part Otsutsuki. So if Boruto is able to create like a karma on somebody else, and he has a karma, and Code has a karma, he should be able to put a karma on somebody else as well. And Code has a lot of powers, right? He has all the abilities of Ishiki based on what they explained, just not the soul of Ishiki. So if he can use the abilities of Ishiki, which is also the karma, the karmification, whatever you want to call it, to put a karma on somebody else, he can use the karma ability to put his soul in a karma and place it on Kawaki to maybe take over Kawaki's body and use it for himself. So, but he's going to be stopped, of course, and I think they kind of alluded to how, and we kind of have some semi-answers in this chapter as to how Kawaki and Boruto have full control over their karma in the future, as seen in the time skip timeline. But I don't know, man, they could do a switcheroo and we might see something else. But these chakra pills are a lot more OP than I first thought they were, because when they were first introduced, I think it was last chapter or the chapter before, right, and Amado was talking about it. I was like, okay, so it might weaken Boruto, it might slow down the Otsusification, and give Boruto time to basically live his life, right? But in this chapter, based on how Naruto explained it, it's going to stop the Otsusification and prevent it from progressing any further, but it might kill Boruto. So this could explain why Boruto and Kawaki have control over the karma seal further down in the future, and they haven't really been fully taken over by Momoshiki or Code, because the same way Boruto is going to take these chakra pills, Kawaki is going to take the same things, right? So I think they kind of answer a lot of things in this chapter, right? And we kind of get another thing that I really want to go into. So, but let me just explain what happened in the chapter first, then we can get into it. Now, as I said earlier, Kawaki is really pissed off in this chapter, right? He's really pissed off how slow they're moving with the training, and he's kind of pissed at Sarada, mostly because Sarada is kind of the captain, and she made it very clear in this chapter. She also made it clear in the chapter where they fought Boru, right? So, and Kawaki was kind of on her side then, but now he's kind of pissed off because he's making it clear that they're no match for Code. As he said, I thought that was clear, we're no match for Code. And Boruto was like, and that's why we're training, so that we can get even a little better. But Kawaki understands that getting a little better doesn't put them on Code's level, because based on what we understand, Code should be stronger than Naruto and Sasuke because he's supposed to be stronger than Jigen, which it's all mind-bending mush. But you know, if that's what it is, that's what it is, right? So we have to deal with it. So he's letting them know that it don't matter what you do right now with these basic ass trainings, you're not going to be on Code's level. We need to do something drastic, because Kawaki feels as if they don't have a lot of time. Coach could be on his way to kill them. So he's like, how many years are you planning to drill to take down Code? 5, maybe 10? And he's like, this is a joke, right? And you can understand where he's coming from, because as seen in the Delta fight last week, Kawaki realized that Naruto kind of underestimated Delta, and just imagine if Naruto did, took Delta into the hospital or to the scientific lab and had them doing research on her, and then Delta decided to self-detonate in that lab. A lot of people would have died. So if Delta was a little bit more tactical about it, she could have killed a lot of people, but she decided to explode out in the open, which was okay, fine. But that kind of underestimating your opponent, underestimating the members of Kara can lead to a lot of chaos and a lot of casualties, right? So I think that's where Boruto is coming from. I mean Kawaki. And Kawaki kind of said, okay, this is what we're gonna do. And Mitsuki kind of catches on that Kawaki has an idea of how he wants to do things. So he said, okay, Kawaki, what do you want to do? And Kawaki just attacks Mitsuki, and Mitsuki reacts pretty fast, and Kawaki's like, I'm impressed, right? That's a good reaction, and I expected that from you. And as I said earlier, Kawaki kind of goes into the philosophy of his thinking and how he came to this position in life. He explained that every waking hour was hell. I wished I was dead, but that wasn't possible either. I eventually started thinking that I really wanted the strength to kill this bastard whose face I couldn't stand. And that's when I started rapidly improving. So even though Jigen was a total bastard, it turns out that his methods were actually rational and made sense. And I know a lot of people might have some kind of problem with this, and they might say, okay, this is Kawaki turning bad, but trust me, life is not black and white, right? It's gray in a lot of areas, right? And we need to understand, and I think that's where Kawaki is coming from. And Boruto, to his credit, even though he's kind of lashing out at Kawaki, he understands this, and you can see it in his facial expressions, right? He understands where Kawaki is coming from, but he still believes that his way of doing it is better, right? So Kawaki, who has had enough of the talking, decided to attack Sarada. Sarada dodged him, then she fired off a fire star jutsu or fireball jutsu. Kawaki blocks it and kind of runs off. Sarada reacts very fast. Maybe she has the Sharingan active, I can't really tell because of the distance between her and the actual camera, or whatever you want to call it, panel, whatever. It's not that close to tell if she has the Sharingan, or based on what I saw. Maybe I didn't have the clear chapters to see fully, but she reacted pretty fast. She kind of threw some shuriken at him, and it actually hit Kawaki in multiple places, and he fell. So everyone was like, okay, he could have dodged that easily. And Mitsuki, to his credit, and I see this with Mitsuki, he's actually a pretty smart character, right? He sees things that a lot of people don't see. He's very observant. So while Sarada and Boruto were surprised, and Boruto was saying that was easily blockable, Mitsuki was like, okay, I see what you're doing. Then all of a sudden, Kawaki disappeared. Turns out that it was a shadow doppelganger jutsu, or shadow clone jutsu, and Kawaki just appeared behind Sarada, ready to take her out, and Boruto had to jump in and save her. And this is really interesting because while I do understand where Kawaki is coming from, that could have been a deadly blow if Sarada didn't react fast enough. And she obviously didn't, because Boruto had to step in. Maybe if, Boruto kind of gave her more time, she could have, reacted. If she activated her Sharingan, which I don't think she did, she was fighting in base. So it's kind of unfair to be using your scientific ninja tool body and your Otsutsufication body to kind of fight someone who is in base. And I don't think Kishimoto kind of, looked into it that way. Say, okay, I'm going to give Sarada her Sharingan to make this an even fight. But, I mean, Sarada did what she could, and she was good. I think Sarada needs to get a power-up, as I've been saying. I made a video about Sarada getting Kurama, but that was obviously a what if. I said that in the video because I knew that Naruto wasn't going to die. I said that what if he does die, who would he give it to? And I think Sarada would have been a good successor to Naruto, because she has the ideals, the values, and she's in a desperate need of a power-up. She's like the weakest member. Even though she's the captain of the team, she is the weakest member of the team, on the team, right? So she needs some sort of power-up to put her on the level of, Mitsuki and Boruto and Kawaki. So we should see what happens. But yeah, that's what I think on Sarada. So Boruto and Kawaki kind of make a bet, and they say that, okay, if I lose, you're gonna, continue the training with my way of thinking, my ninja way, my philosophy on what ninjas should do, which is basic training, then, go higher and higher to more advanced training and get stronger in a progressive manner, as opposed to Kawaki's way of just going in, fighting until you just get stronger, right? That's what Kawaki thinks. And Kawaki has and I think this kind of resembles the philosophy of Naruto versus Momoshiki. Naruto is more like, okay, we need to train to get stronger. Momoshiki is like, okay, I can just get strong, just as strong as you. You train 10 years, right? And I can get it just as strong as you in one day by just eating some chakra fruits, right? But I think the difference is that, and I think I more lean to Naruto's way of thinking, because yes, you might have a lot of power, and we saw that in Kaguya, right? Kaguya was immensely powerful, right? Even more powerful than Jubidara. But the difference with Kaguya and Jubidara is that Madara actually knew how to use his abilities, right? He had skill, he has the taijutsu, he has the fighting ability, he has strategy, he has experience, right? And how do you get experience? By participating in these battles, by doing it in a progressive manner. When it came to Kaguya, she just had all of these abilities that didn't know how to implement them into her fighting style. And it's the same thing with Momoshiki. Momoshiki was way better than Kaguya in his fighting ability. I still think Kaguya was more powerful, but especially in her hacks abilities, right? But when it comes to, just fighting and their engagement in the battle and their awareness of the surrounding, I think it really comes down to the experience of a shinobi and a ninja. You can't just gain that by eating some chakra pills. So I think what we're coming into in the Boruto series, it's going to be kind of a clash of ideals, but I truly believe that one is better, but I can see where it's better to have both, right? You can have both the training and the succession and, that experience, that fighting experience and that the heart of the shinobi, whilst also, cheating in a way, like, using scientific ninja tools whilst also using, chakra pills. You can do both, right? I always say this, you can do both. You don't always have to be fighting and clashing, do both. And I think that's where we're going to end up in the Naruto series, where I think the characters are going to end up doing both in order to combat this Otsutsuki god and, to basically close out the Naruto franchise on a good note. So we shall see, but those are just my thoughts on the two philosophies as it relates to the scientific ninja tools and, the original way of being a shinobi. Now, this fight between Kawaki and Boruto was fairly even for the most part until Kawaki used his power of his scientific ninja tool body to create this massive ball of chakra and hurl it at Boruto, and Boruto resorted to using karma to absorb it. Now Kawaki was a little bit surprised or a little bit angered by this. He's like darn karma, because he knows that this power is pretty OP and he's kind of at a disadvantage because he doesn't have it. But it's kind of funny because he realizes this and also doesn't so he's at the realization that Boruto has karma and he used it, but he's also not of the realization that he doesn't have karma anymore, because this was shown when Boruto used the thunderclap arrow at the lightning style thunderclap arrow at Kawaki, and Kawaki tried to absorb it, but then he realized that you saw this click in his mind, shit, I don't have karma. So he's like, fuck, I messed up, and he just gets slapped with the thunderclap arrow and he falls down and he's like, fuck, like I unconsciously tried to absorb it. Does that mean I'm more dependent on having karma than I thought? And this kind of brings us back to the chapter where he actually defeated Ishiki, right? Or a chapter before that where Amado was like, so Kawaki, what are you going to do now when you don't have karma? And Amado was kind of alluding to Kawaki being now dependent on karma and how he's going to function in society without this power. What is he going to do? And Boruto kind of understands this. I see he's kind of gloating in a way, I win, but he also is doing it in a mature way where he's saying that I win with my ideal, right? My ideal is better than yours and we need to do it this way, right? And he's kind of using that to justify his actions. And I see Kawaki was a little bit upset here and he needs to get stronger, because as we see in the next panel, he wants to get stronger because he wants to protect Lord Seventh. He wants to protect Naruto because he feels responsible for what happened to Naruto, what happened to Kurama, and Naruto being depowered, and he feels pathetic like being beaten by Boruto like this. But yeah, I mean, Boruto has karma. What did you expect? You could have, had some good moments in the fight, but once it comes down to it, Boruto was going to activate karma either way, and he was going to take you out. Because when this fight was going to start, I was like, you're definitely going to lose because Boruto is going to activate karma, right? There's no way he wouldn't have done this. So I think Kawaki is pretty good, and one-on-one without karma, I think he could have bested Boruto, but once Boruto activates karma, it's KO, it's game over. And Boruto wasn't really too gloatish about this. You can see the maturity in Boruto, right? And he kind of explains to Kawaki that you might be feeling responsible for targeting Konoha and Naruto, but that isn't really your fault, which is kind of iffy, because it kind of is his fault, in a way, because if Naruto didn't try to protect him, Kurama would still be alive and everything would be okay. Obviously they would have died later on because Infinite Tsukuyomi and all that jazz, but right now Kurama would have still been alive, so it's kind of Kawaki's fault, in a way. So that statement is not that truthful, so I understand what he's trying to do here, but I mean, Kawaki still knows that if he didn't arrive and Naruto didn't try to protect him, a lot of shit wouldn't have happened. So he feels some kind of responsibility to that, and that is understandable. And Boruto's kind of sounding wise here, explaining the way of the Shinobi, and Konohama is like, well, look who is sounding all grown up, and he's sounding a lot like Naruto used to, like when Naruto was younger. And this kind of brings me back to everyone saying that Boruto is more like Sasuke than Naruto, and I kind of always have a problem with this, right? And I made a post on Twitter the other day and said that Boruto is nothing like Sasuke. The only similarity with Boruto and Sasuke is that he wears cool looking clothes, right? And what else? He doesn't want to be Hokage. That's basically it. The personality is the same as Naruto. His ambitions is not ambition, because Naruto's ambition is to become Hokage, but Naruto's ambition was also to become someone noteworthy or to protect the village, and that's kind of what Boruto is exemplifying here, to protect everyone. Sasuke didn't really care about people, he just wanted to kill Itachi, he didn't care about anybody else. So Boruto, his personality, his childish manner, his abrasiveness, his aggressiveness to just charge in, and a lot of people just chalk it down to, Boruto is just intelligent, so he's automatically like Sasuke. I mean, there are multiple intelligent characters in the series, guys, calm down. And Naruto at his age was pretty intelligent, not in the sense that he was book smart, but he was a battle genius. And I have a video on that. I don't know if you guys saw it, you guys can go check it out, but I laid out all of Naruto's fights in the original Naruto series, going straight up to Shippuden, going straight up to the last movie indeed, and show that Naruto has always been a battle genius, and Boruto has inherited that from Naruto. He's a good strategist when it comes to battle, and I think a lot of people really downplay Naruto's genius when it comes to his battle capabilities, and they need to stop mixing up, you know, being a battle genius with being book smart, because they're two different things. It's similar to being street smart and being book smart, two different things, right? So yeah, that's what I thought about this. But later on, Kawaki was like, Sai, whatever, let's do it your way. I'm gonna stay, you know, here for now and train with you guys. So, and Naruto was like, okay, go for it, guys, you know, get a lot stronger, because that's what's going to happen. It's kind of foreshadowing for the future of them potentially being stronger than the most powerful version of Naruto, which would be Baryon mode, right? So we will see if that happens. Hopefully it does, because I want the series to be bigger, right? Yeah, I said this in my video with Boruto's time skip and where this series needs to go, right? And I want it to go there, right? I want it to be up there in, you know, power level and all that jazz. So we shall see. But yeah, this chapter was really good. A lot of good things happened. I was really excited. I actually forgot that the chapter was gonna drop today, and I was like, okay, what am I doing? I checked Twitter and I was like, what? Boruto chapter 58? And I just said, okay. I read it, felt excited, so I decided to make a video right away. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys thought about the points I made. If you guys liked the video, drop a like and subscribe if you're new. And if you already subscribed, remember to hit that notification bell to be notified when I post new content. But above all else, have a good day.